Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Football Fan Zone podcast. It's great to be here. So this week we have a Tottenham fan with us for this episode. Uzo is with us. Uzo, how are you doing? A few words.
Uh, Doing great so far. Again, happy to be here. Hopefully, I'm happy to be here after Monday.
All right, man. All right, man. Okay, so we also have Adams with us as usual. Adams, our co-host on the show, is here. Adams, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
We're doing great. Looking forward to. Actually, I don't think people might see this until after the sports game, but still looking forward to that game.
All right, man. All right, man. Looking forward to the big
Famous,
game.
famous last words.
All right, all right. All right. So the show has a very interesting plot. A Chelsea was a fan and a Tottenham fan. So we'll be looking a huge part of our time. We'll be looking ahead to the game tomorrow. But before we do that, we'll have to review the other games that were played this weekend. So there were some very interesting results. A loss for Arsenal, 1-0 to Newcastle. A disappointing draw for my team, Liverpool. Uh, a huge thumping victory for Manchester City, 6-1 against Bournemouth, and a last-minute winner for Manchester United away at Fulham. So there was some kind of like mixed results for some of the traditional big teams. So let's start off with Arsenal. Let's start off with Arsenal. Where we'll review the Arsenal Newcastle game. 1-0 to Newcastle at the end of the day. Controversy just as usual in the Premier League when it comes to referee. I saw somewhere where someone was saying, why can't we have a weekend without having to discuss about VAR or referee controversy? I think for this show as well, I think I want us not to dwell too much on that. We'll just talk about what we observed from the game. Arsenal, looking at their title chances, what do you guys think? So let me start with you, Adams, before I come to Uzo. From you, I know you've been saying from the onset, like you don't see Arsenal in a title race this year. Like, yeah, fair play to them. They were in the title race last year. They almost won it. But you've said this year they are not in the title race. Okay, so but before we talk about Arsenal and the title race and all, from the game yesterday, what do you think happened to Arsenal? Only one shot on target throughout the whole game. So what happened from your view, Adams?
Yeah, I actually think they're in a title race. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just
Okay.
saying they are not going to win. Like it's clear. I've already said they are not going to win, but I think that they will be in there, challenging Man City, trying to stay with Man City. But I don't think they eventually win. But yesterday it was a very good game, a crazy atmosphere. And Newcastle are a very physical team. They brought the physicality to Arsenal. I felt like Arsenal stayed with them physicality wise. Arsenal teams in the past have been accused of being too soft, not having that grit to match, physical teams. They, to my surprise, I think Arsenal, maybe with the signing of Kai Havertz and Declan Rice, they were able to withstand that physicality a bit. Newcastle didn't just dominate them in midfield; they also fought back. But I've been saying, like, some of the attackers are on surveillance. All right. We need to start talking about guys like Martinelli and Saka. We talked about Odegaard not doing enough. I don't think he didn't play that game. He wasn't even on the
You
bench.
didn't play the game, yeah.
Yeah. So the attackers, they were not in that game. I think Newcastle did very well. The physicality was too much for the front line. Nketiah didn't get enough of the ball. They had only one shot on target. It was really poor from the attacking side of things for Arsenal, but I felt like their defense did well. Saliba, it was very, very intriguing battle. Gabriel versus Wilson. I like that part. We'll talk about the red cards. Like you said, we shouldn't dwell too much on the officiating, but I felt like physicality was a little too much for Arsenal. Plus the atmosphere, it was really hostile. And the attackers didn't bring too much to the game against a mid block from Newcastle. And you know how aggressive they are with the mid block especially at home. We've seen teams like PSG, even AC Milan, right? They played, no, I think it was away. They played AC Milan away.
Yeah.
Dortmund came. I feel like they should have won that game against Dortmund, but they couldn't convert their chances. And this Newcastle team, with their high energy they play, they look like a really interesting team moving forward in the Premier League. But yeah, Arsenal are going to make this about the poor officiating, but there are a lot of talking points for them. From the Chelsea game, right? There are things that we were seeing from the Chelsea game, especially attackers. They couldn't stand up to physicality, to people being very close to them, and defenders, taking the game to them. And we saw something like that. I felt like Trippier, Dambon, and then this Livramento that came out in the second half. They did very well against Saka and Martinelli. So yeah, Arsenal attackers we need to start talking about them very soon. We talked about Odegaard. I think Saka and Martinelli must start come into that conversation as well. There's, fraud, not fraud, I won't say fraud watch, but they're under surveillance for sure.
All right, Adam. Safe fraud watch. Okay. Uzo, you want to? I know you're eager to talk about your North London rivals, Arsenal. I'm sure yesterday's result was sweet for you. You had that sweet feeling seeing Arsenal lose yesterday. So you want to talk about what you saw yesterday about Arsenal?
Yeah, for me, the Arsenal agenda has been what I call, those who know me, it's something I call slow broil. It's when you put rice inside a rice cooker and you put it on the lowest minimum boil and you just let it cook for 3-4 hours. Like, there's no rush. When this rice is done, I'll eat it. So I've been very patient when it comes to Arsenal because I don't actually think that they're a bad team. I think Mikel has done a great job. I think that they actually have good prospects, but the hater in me, obviously them being our crosstown rivals, is eager and looking for something that I feel will be a chink in their armor. I think what people do though is people tend to overrate Arsenal's failures. For example, I look back at that Newcastle game and I didn't really enjoy watching them lose like I normally do when they lose. Like when I watched the Lens game, I was laughing. I was having a great time. I'm like, yeah. When I watched the West Ham game, having a great time. But the Newcastle game was different because I saw something from Arsenal that I didn't think was there. And it kind of scared me a little bit in terms of going forward. So we already know they were missing some key players. So were Newcastle. Newcastle was missing Alexander Isak, as well as they were missing their center back, whose name is escaping my memory right now.
Botman, I think.
Yes, Sven Botman.
Botman. Sven Botman. They were missing him. Those are pretty key misses. But they do have a Jamal Lascelles who can come in and do a good job. But similarly, Arsenal were meant to have all this depth, so they were missing 4 or 5 key players in Partey, Jesus, Odegaard, Timber, who's recently come in and looked like he was going to have that left back position locked down. So from that perspective, with such a heavily rotated team, seeing a midfield of Jorginho and Havertz, and I'm sure Chelsea fans were like, what am I watching here? But seeing that, I thought, okay, this would be an interesting matchup. Now, I don't rate Newcastle too highly. This is just me in general. And it's wild for me to say that because they did beat us 6-1 at St. James Park last season. Yeah. And that's still very fresh in my memory. Believe me, I really flabbergasted as a Spurs fan because I'm used to a certain degree of capitulation from my team. Like, I've seen us go 3-0 up against West Ham and in the 80th minute concede 3 and be down 3 and it was 3-3. I've seen stuff like that. But that Newcastle game was the most flabbergasted I've ever been as a Spurs fan. To be 5-0 down within 20 minutes in a top 4 6-pointer. I was floored. It's one of those days where I just turned my phone off. I'm not going to deal with this, not today. So I should have respect for Newcastle, but I don't. And the reason why I do not have respect for them is I think they're imposters. I think that they were in a false position last year. I think that they benefited greatly from teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, not having their stuff together. Because I look at the table last year and Newcastle got top 4 just barely. It was just barely safe. Yeah. Considering how bad a season Liverpool had, how bad a season Chelsea had, Spurs had, there was no clear contenders for top 4. For them to barely sneak it, right at the end, in what many considered a great and fantastic season for the club.
But
it gave me
No,
But considering what they've spent and the amount of money that's in the club now, I'm not really that impressed by it. Brighton, I'm impressed by. I'm impressed by Brentford. I'm impressed by teams like Fulham, were I think 7th or 8th at some point last season. That's something that I respect because they're working on a shoestring budget. There's a clear identity. They're making the most out of the investment that they have. Newcastle are buying their way to something. Let's call a spade a spade. I would never be impressed by the project that's going on at Newcastle because it's a project that's just based on money. Let's be real, right? Like they've gone out there and pretty much replaced the entirety of the team that Steve Bruce had. And they should have some expectations. They should be expected to deliver a certain level of success to their fans. And for them to only just scrape top 4 in what is considered one of their best ever seasons, since they were winning titles, it just didn't impress me. And I don't think that I rate Eddie Howe as a manager. I liked him at Bournemouth, but I don't see him as someone that's ready to take them to that next level that they need to get to. So coming into this season, I didn't expect Newcastle to be in the top 4 conversation. And in all of my predictions, it was reflected that way. And they have shown that they're not going to be in that conversation this season. I think that they're going to be heavily affected by the European schedule. I think they're going to have a lot of rotation issues. And you already kind of see it starting to show face. The game against Wolves, they scammed that. It was an atrocious decision against Wolves to deny them of a goal. And I didn't think that they showed me anything in their previous fixtures over the rest of the season to show that they're going to have any kind of top 4 challenge. So the way I was looking at this game was, okay, can Arsenal go in there and make a statement and beat this team that is missing some key players that I don't really rate too highly? Can they go in there and bang them like man for man? And what I saw from Arsenal was they matched them physically, they matched them emotionally. And I think that's a huge thing because if you think about when Arsenal bottled the top 4 race 2 seasons ago, it was at St. James Park where they went in there and they looked head and shoulders better than Arsenal. They looked like they were men against GS3 boys. Like it was just not even a contest. So you fast forward to last season when they went into St. James Park and they won that game, a barn burner. And then now they go there again and they're matching them for intensity. They're matching them for physicality. It showed me that Arsenal were maybe developing a toughness to them, a resolve and a resolution that I'm kind of scared of, because if you pair that with the kind of football that they were playing last season, then it can mean that they're building something, they're building a culture that can actually challenge for the title and be able to sustain a challenge. And I didn't think they deserved to lose the game. I did think a draw was probably a fair result because, as Adams has mentioned, their attack was absolutely putrid on the day. And I mean, you looked at the lineup and you didn't expect that they would be able to create much. And indeed, they were not able to create much against Newcastle's mid-block, which is probably one of the best mid-blocks besides Brentford. So what I take away from that game is Arsenal are going to be a tough team to beat this season. I didn't think they were good against us. I didn't think they were good against you guys. I didn't think they were good against City. But they managed to get through all of those games not losing. And they actually had a chance to win against that ball that got to Nketiah where he turned and shot it. If he looks for an extra pass against Chelsea, we might be talking about one of the biggest collapses in Arsenal getting 3 points. Against us, in the last 15 minutes, they were on us. Just wave after wave of crosses and sustaining attacks. And we were lucky to get out of there with the 1 point, which we earned. We earned the 1 point, but we were lucky to survive the last 15 minutes. So Arsenal scared me this season in the sense that I think they're doing it a little differently from the way they were doing it last season, where it was just free-flowing, beautiful football, scoring a lot of goals. Now it's like this team has resolve. They will, to beat them, you have to actually dominate them for the entirety of the 90 minutes. And so that's scary to see. And hopefully that does not continue. I need them to go back to what I think that they are.
What I would say is, go ahead.
No, Adams, you can go ahead.
What I was going to say is, Arsenal, like he says, they have this resolve to them. They have this, never say die, almost this grit, this dog in them. But they've just been struggling to create chances this season. I don't see where their goals will come from. I don't see even Jesus, right? Arsenal fans are beginning to say we probably need another striker. apart from Jesus. So to me, it always looks like Arsenal will always be 2 or 3 players away from having that team that finally wins the Premier League.
League,
Last
yeah.
season, they were almost saying, "Oh, we just need an extra midfielder. We need Declan Rice to come in. We need somebody like maybe another defender, and we're good." But now they're saying that now they might need another creative player. They might need another winger. They might need another striker, and that's because the levels that they expect their players to be, I don't think those players can sustain those levels. Martinelli's, the Sakas, the Jesus. I don't think they will sustain the level of, the level that they almost set last season where they were high there in terms of like creativity, volume, and goals. I don't
Goals,
think
yeah.
those players are good. Don't get me wrong. They will score, but they will not sustain that levels that we've seen from players like Salah, from players before maybe Mane
Yeah.
and Haaland. I don't think those players will be able to sustain that level. So for me, they will always be 2 or 3 players away from winning the title.
Oh, yeah. I think that I agree with you, Adams. I think that's the point I also wanted to touch on before we move on from Arsenal. I think the attack line is just they're all young players, right? Yes, that's one thing we need to put in mind. They're all young players. I think they don't have that how will I put it, that they don't have the other finished article like Liverpool now that had Salah, Mane. I don't think they can give that number of goals in terms of goals and assists. They can give that kind of output. So I think that is where they are short. Defensively, I think they are fine. They are solid. Saliba, Rose Royce, Gabriel has also looks very strong. So I think they are good. Tomiyasu is also a good defender as well. So I think they are good. But I just defensively they are sound. But I just feel attacking wise, that is where they will come short. Okay, quickly on Newcastle. Before we move on, so Newcastle Champions League this week, we are at Dortmund, right? And that group is very interesting because I think they're all just separated by like a point or so. I just want to quickly get quick prediction from you guys as per Newcastle. I'll start with you, Adams. Do you think they're going to make it out of that group, or it's Europa League, or they're out?
Man,
They'll be out.
it's
What do
a,
you
it's
think,
a tough
Adams?
one. It's a tough one. I want them to go to Europa League though. So
All right, you want us to go? So you see them finishing third in the
yeah,
group.
I see them. I want PSG and Milan to go through.
As traditional Champions League teams. Okay, Uzo, where do you think Newcastle finishes in that Champions League group?
Is looking like last place for those boys, man. I mean, I'm with Adams though. I want them to finish in the Europa League
Yeah,
spots because I don't want them out of Europe.
exactly.
Because them being out of Europe, then all my prediction is out of the window. Because
Yep.
if they have one game a week, then no, we don't want
Yeah.
that. But the reason why I say that is they're not beating Dortmund at Dortmund. I don't think they have the cachet. I don't think they have the European heritage to go into the yellow wall and look
Yeah,
it in the eye and
uh,
do something. I don't see any players there that I can
yeah.
say will raise their game when they go there. Like maybe if they have Isak back, which I don't know if he's going to be anywhere
I
near
don't think
fit enough
I don't think he's
to
back.
go in there. So I don't see them doing. I mean, you're taking Lascelles and Burn into. I mean, we did see those guys dominate PSG, but
PSG.
again, I think that PSG game was an anomaly in the sense that every one of us, and I don't know if you guys saw it too. When
Yeah,
I saw that lineup come out, I said, "What the hell is Luis Enrique doing? Like, are you trying to throw the game?" Because any one of us who's been to St. James Park will tell you, from just basic common sense, you don't go in there without a midfield, much less
Yeah,
with two feeble. It
y-
it was suicide,
yeah.
and that's how the game played out. Like they had no midfield, they isolated their attack. You're playing right into Newcastle's hands, and I think that was an anomaly of a result. And I think when they go to
PSG.
France,
It's France,
they're
yeah.
going to lose. I think they're going to lose at Dortmund, and I think the game against Milan is probably going to be another board draw because Milan, we know they're going to scam. If there's anything they're going to do, they're going to scam a draw. That's just what they do. That's who they are. That's their identity. I see PSG and probably Dortmund going through in the group.
Going
And I'm hoping that Newcastle do enough to secure third place.
Yeah, they have to. They
uh
have to be in the European places. I beg.
all right.
I need it. I will love it, and I
Yeah.
deserve.
I think I, I think I agree with you guys as well. I think it's Europa League for Newcastle fans. I think if I was a betting man, I'm definitely betting on Dortmund to beat them this coming week in the Champions League. Okay, let's quickly move on to the game that ended some few hours ago. Liverpool surprisingly drawing at Luton Town. Like I'm a Liverpool fan if you don't know, and I'm still trying to come to terms with how we drew at Luton. It was kind of like an embarrassing result. But just like I was telling Adams before we started the show. That's why we love the Premier League. I'm sure many Liverpool
Mhm.
fans will go in there will be like, oh, we're going there 4 exactly the 4 Liverpool was coming into the game. Like, oh, 4-0, 5-0, we just go there, smash them and take our 3 points. But that was not the case. Right, okay, so in terms of the question I'd just like to ask you guys, right, for as far as we talk about Liverpool is what do you think about Liverpool? Do you think Liverpool are also or can also be in a title race this season? Let me start with you, Uzo. What do you think about Liverpool in a title race this season?
So, oh man, I couldn't wait. So the team that I currently hate the most is Liverpool. As much as I hate Arsenal and I hate Chelsea, and those are historically the teams that I've hated. Liverpool is the team that I've hated the last 3-4 years, and it didn't change when we played them 2 weeks ago because we all know what the events of the game were and what events followed. Most importantly, these guys are the biggest victims in all the victimhood because you had one VAR decision go against you in probably 30 some odd games, right? And they blew it so far out of proportion. They pretended like this was something that was exclusively happening to just Liverpool, as like we hadn't seen egregious decisions go against multiple clubs in even in the same week, in the same game week. Wolves had gotten robbed. There was just all these countless examples. So I think the way that played out was it reflected very selfishly, I think, on Liverpool Football Club because when they said that they were looking for more transparency and for a change in the process, for their coach to then comment in the press conference after asking or saying that what would be most just is a replay, I think it just kind of exposed what you were about your points. Like, let's just keep it real. Like, you're not about the good of the Premier League. Like, you wanted your 3 points. As long as it's not, because if you actually look, there's a Premier League table for teams that have won the most points because of VAR, and Liverpool is at the top of that table. Now, that doesn't mean that VAR favors you. It just means that when decisions have gone against your team, VAR has been able to step in and correct them, and it's been a net positive for Liverpool Football Club. So the way that they reacted to that was very strange to me because if you're one of the biggest beneficiaries from this technology, you can't come and sit here and pretend like, oh, woe is me. How dare they? You can't bite the hand that feeds
Waiting
you.
for this one. Yeah, I'm waiting for this chance.
Now, as far as Liverpool, I do have Liverpool as title challengers. I think they'll finish third. And the reason why I think Liverpool finishes third is because I just think that you didn't do enough in the summer. And thanks to the guy that's to the right of you, taking all your targets, you didn't do enough in the summer. I think you left yourself too short. I think if you're gonna persist with McAllister and Endo as your defensive midfield options, at some point during the season, during a 38 league season, you are going to have to pay for that because those two are not industrial enough. They're not commanding enough. They're not proven enough in that position to be at the heart of the engine of a midfield that sustains the title challenge. Because, like, let's be honest, all of the teams that have either won or challenged for the title in the last 5 years have had a top 5 world contending defensive midfielder in control.
That's
Like, you
correct.
even look at Arsenal last season with Partey, like, stepping in, and Xhaka. These guys were seen as midfield generals in the way that their performances were. So, and we saw even with Liverpool, the decline kind of started with the decline of Fabinho. Like, as soon as he started to lose his legs and his real Brazilian age started to show, boom, no more title challenges, no more club football, no more any of that. So I think Liverpool will be. I think people have been overrating Liverpool's form this season. I think their attack has carried them. I looked at a lot of the games. You guys play maybe a good half. You'll be down at halftime, and then you turn it on for 30 minutes in the second half, and you blow teams away, which we know you're capable of doing that because your attack is so potent. But I don't think that Liverpool has the continuity, the team, the drive to actually sustain those 90 95-point title challenges till the end of the season. So I think like from that perspective, I think your ceiling is third. And I also think like you need to go up a few more levels. I think the results have been very favorable. I think you should have lost the Chelsea game. You possibly could have lost the Wolves game. You lost the Tottenham, which I don't think you deserve to lose that game. I'll be fair and say there is the decisions on that day were absolutely criminal. I agree. I'll put my hands up. But I don't think that Liverpool have actually warranted their league position so far in terms of performances. But I do think that the performances will continue to evolve. And so I think like you'll win enough points to be third, clear third. And it depends on Arsenal. You could probably push for second as well. But I think so far people have been overrating your performances. And I don't know if you agree with that as a Liverpool fan because you get to watch it. But I haven't seen you put together a 90 minutes of like dominating club football where I'm like, oh, these guys are fully back. But it's like you're on the way back. And I'm backing you guys to actually, get to those levels. But I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I think I agree with some of the things you said. With this season, performance-wise, has not been up there for Liverpool, right? Yeah, like in terms of like controlling the game, like just putting pressure on the defenses of your position has been there. Even the game we won last week against Nottingham Forest was like the goals we scored were like mistakes of Nottingham Forest, especially in
Mm-hmm.
transition. But in terms
Transition.
of breaking them down, like when they were all men behind the ball, we struggled. So I think another area, like I've always said, and I'll continue to say, is Darwin Nunez is not. I don't know. It's hot and cold. He's not the
You
striker that
guys
can.
tried to tell me that this guy was Luis Suarez regen.
No, he's not. He's
I've
not.
been seeing the comps. I've been
He's
seeing the wrist kiss. You guys don't let thunder. Okay. Do
he's
not
not.
let thunder.
Yeah. All
Don't
right. All
ever
right.
say that guy's name with Suarez again. No, no, no.
All right. Adams, what do you want to say on Liverpool before we move away
Yeah,
from
I,
them?
I didn't watch that game, but I don't think I've watched Liverpool's games in a while. But I keep seeing the highlights, and you said you guys were going to win all four trophies last
Did I say anything like that?
week.
No, I didn't say
Just last
anything like
week.
that.
Just
No
last week.
evidence. No evidence. No evidence. You go
Don't
explain,
worry,
Taya.
we'll pull up the tape. We'll pull up the tape. But yeah,
VAR.
yeah, like you said, Liverpool. I think I've always looked apart from the midfield. I've always talked about the defense as well. I'm not just convinced. Like I've not been convinced by the defense since a couple seasons now. But I feel like you guys have done enough, and that is good. That must be That's commendable to be able to get 3 points. I watched that game against part of that game against Nottingham Forest, and I saw things that my team couldn't do, like beat teams in transitions. I saw that chance that Jota had and he buried it. If it was my
Yeah,
team, first of all, won't pick up the right pass to, was it Salah or Nunes? Won't pick up the
yeah,
right passes, and that player won't be in that position. So I like some of the things you guys have done, and I think you guys will be able to win probably the League Cup. I think you guys are favourite to
I
win
can
the League
back them
Cup.
for that,
Yeah,
yeah.
you will win some trophies this season. It will be a good season, but you will just come. You'll be far off the trophy, right? Far off challenging for the Premier League. But
Premier
you
League.
guys will be all right. You guys will be all right this season. That's what I think.
All right. Thank you very much, Adams. It has made me feel a bit better. We'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be all right. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that. Okay, so enough of Liverpool now. It's time to look ahead to tomorrow, the big game. Chelsea versus Tottenham, the London Derby.
Yeah,
The unbeaten Tottenham side, looking to extend
The
their
last
unbeaten.
unbeaten team in the league, man.
Yeah, yeah, you can
It
say
ain't
that
easy.
again.
this is the
Yeah,
last.
It
This is
ain't
the
man.
last
easy,
time it's
man.
good to
It
say
ain't
that.
easy.
Yeah, with the Australian gaffer, looking to do the unthinkable this season. Okay, so my question to you guys will be I'll start with you, Adams, right? So in terms of looking at your opposition, like so you're a Chelsea fan, and looking at Tottenham, the opposition, where do you think Tottenham's weakness would lie for Chelsea to exploit tomorrow? Where
I
do you
think.
think?
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think tomorrow we'll try to play like a mid block and put them in transition because I still see them as a team that concede a lot of chances. Right? I think they concede a lot of chances. I'm not too convinced. I know they have good centre back pairing. I really like them, but I'm still not convinced. I don't feel like they've been tested. Don't forget they've played Liverpool, they've played Arsenal, and they're about to play Chelsea now. I think they've been tested, but I'm
Played
not.
United as well.
Yeah, they
Yep.
played United. Yeah, I
United.
don't think. I just feel like we can hurt them. We can hurt them in transition, and I'm not still convinced by their by their defense. And another thing is, I think they'll be surprised by our midfield too. They'll be surprised by how hardworking Gallagher is going to be. I think Gallagher is going to stay on Basuma. I think Caicedo is going to give Madison a really tough game. Yeah, so their attack is has been exceptional. That connection, Madison and Son, they only need few chances to take the game away. But I'm banking on my defense. Whoever starts, I think we might start with Cowell and Thiago Silva and have Rhys James and Cucurella. I think, especially against Richarlison and Kulusevski, where I feel they've not given their best. They've not gotten to the levels that we think they should be on. So I feel, their weakness would be, catching them on the break or on the counter, and their midfield. I'm hoping that my midfield can stay on top of them tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that all of that formation and that approach can work for Chelsea. Bearing in mind that Tottenham will be at home and they are the unbeaten team, so everybody's expecting them to
Yeah, so
defeat. So the onus is on them here to come out and attack, and then Chelsea can exploit them that way. Okay, Uzo, so looking at the other side of the coin now, you're looking at Chelsea a bit low on confidence, lost their last game. I think they're currently 11th or 12th in the Premier League. And
13th.
Flat, 13th. Okay.
Trust me, I trust me. I got you. I got you. I know where everybody is at.
Thanks for that. Okay, so looking at Chelsea now, I'm sure you're looking at like, wow, this should be an easy game for us, right?
Stroll in the park.
Nice.
Of course I'm over exaggerating. I actually I was on a space with Roland this morning, and I heard a Chelsea fan tell me that I was being overconfident. And mind you, all I said was that I think we'll win 2-0, and that I think that this is the best time to play Chelsea. And I said the same thing on Adams' podcast when we did the match preview. I think this is absolutely the best time to play Chelsea. They're, like you said, they're a bit low on they are down in the dumps on confidence. You can't tell me any of those attackers are looking at themselves and feeling like they have what it takes to be successful in terms of putting the ball in the net, because we haven't seen any evidence of that from any single person across the front three. Mudryk just barely got his first goal in the Premier League, like through a failed cross 2 games ago. Sterling is someone.
No, that was in his first
goal. Failed cross.
He scored against. He scored against Fulham.
Yeah,
it was his first goal in the Premier League. No,
no, he scored against Fulham.
He scored against
some weeks before. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about a £100 million attacker who's on 2 goals. Then we know Sterling. Sterling is a proven bad boy in this league, but since he's been at Chelsea, I feel like he hasn't had the same stability around him. He hasn't had the same opportunities, because we used to see him miss chance after chance, but still be able to drop 20 goals a season. He hasn't gotten back to those levels. We've seen him be a flat track bully at times, where he's getting multiple goal contributions against the smaller teams. And then you have a Cole Palmer who has been a breath of fresh air, and he's been great in possession, but it hasn't really translated to goals and assists. We're not going to speak on Nicholas Jackson because that's my guy, but man, I'm so disappointed. If I had stocks in him, I'd be selling my house.
Don't worry about Nico Jackson. Don't worry about him.
With all due respect to Chelsea, and this is like not even to be overconfident. I look across their front three. I look across their front four. Any possible combination of characters, I just don't see how they can successfully threaten us in terms of like defensively. Now, I do know we are very easy to cut apart in transition, and that's where I would agree with Adams. He said that our weakness, that where they can take advantage of us, is in transition, because we are still a working project that's very, very new, and you see the players still make a lot of mistakes. In the Liverpool game, in the first 15, 20 minutes, we couldn't break their press. They turned us over really high up the pitch and had chance after chance. There was 2 saves that Vicario had to make, even before the Diaz goal that was disallowed. So I already see that a team that can press effectively from the front, a team that is industrial, they'll be able to get some joy from Spurs this season because we're still working out the kinks. And you can see we don't have a DLP because Bissouma is not a great passer. He's a great carrier of the ball. So he's not looking to pass and break lines. He's very shaky with the ball. So you can exploit our buildup in the sense that we have a lot of players going out of position. We've got inverted fullbacks. So I think if Chelsea are able to be industrial and press and win the ball high up the pitch, then they can create chances for themselves. But again, the forwards just don't cover themselves in any glory, man. They don't inspire any confidence
Arsenal.
in me.
We scored 2 against Arsenal.
But if
than you though,
I disagree with that.
You disagree?
I fully disagree with that. I don't I've seen a lot of combined 11s. I've seen a lot of combined 11s where the entire defensive backline is Chelsea's defense, and then maybe they'll sneak Udogie in there. And I'm like,
no, I'm talking about Arsenal. I know Chelsea right now.
You said Arsenal have a better defense than us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I fully agree with that. I think they have a better defense, but I don't think they have a better goalkeeper. And if we're being overly critical, your goals came from a failed cross that the goalie misjudged and a penalty that was unfortunate because he didn't intend to intentionally handball, but it was a penalty, but it's also unfortunate on him, same way like the goal we conceded against Arsenal. Now, I mean, I'm assuming on this show we're gonna look at things with context. Like you did score 2 goals against Arsenal, but we can't really say like you cut them apart and you finished your chances. When you did create chances, Nicholas Jackson, he had a chance to bury the game at 3-0, and he fluffed his lines. He wasn't confident. These are the things that I'm looking at as a Spurs fan and saying, well, I don't trust any of these attackers to be able to hit the ground running and take advantage of the 1, 2, 3 chances that you'll be able to create in transition. And I think that if we're able to break the deadlock, then it's going to be a long day for you guys. Because contrary to popular belief, I think we are prepared for your midfield. You have to remember, Ange wanted Gallagher. Like that was one of our primary targets this summer.
Yeah.
The reason why we weren't able to get him is because you guys priced us out of a move because for some reason the guy's valued at like 60 million pounds. I don't know why.
You don't know why? You find out why tomorrow.
You didn't even want this guy. Chelsea fans did not want this guy.
I wanted Gallagher. I don't know about
you're one of the minority. You're one of the Chelsea fans wanted this guy out of the club, right?
I agree.
Big Ange had a plan for him. We were going to save him. But unfortunately, we don't have £1 billion to spend on our team like certain teams. So we had to cut our cloth according to our size. But I think we're going to be prepared for that midfield. I think if anybody knows the industry that Gallagher brings, it's Ange. He wanted that, right? So I think we'll be able to be very cautious in the way that we play out from the back because we know the only way that Chelsea can create chances against us is if we hurt ourselves. Because I don't think that they're settled enough. I don't think that they have an identity enough to create quality chances against us if we settle into shape. So what we're going to be very careful in is being careful in possession, making sure that we're not getting turned over up the pitch. And the way I see it, I told him, I think it's going to be a very, very professional 2-0 game where we might score early, we might score late, but I don't see us blowing them away and I don't see them troubling us defensively. That's just the way I see the game playing out. And I think that most of the game is going to be played in their half, unfortunately. I saw Arsenal go dominate possession at Stamford Bridge. I don't see how Chelsea is going to come to us and dominate us in possession when we dominated Arsenal in possession at the Emirates. You see what I'm saying? Again, I'm just going off. It sounds like I'm being overconfident, but the numbers is what I'm going off. And I can't see the game playing out in any other way than Spurs holding more of the ball and just being careful not to make a mistake. There's also an alternate reality where it might be 0-0. I just don't see a Chelsea fan. I have a bet with a Chelsea fan on Spaces. Actually, they predicted 3-1 Chelsea. And I said if Chelsea scored 3 goals in my stadium, I'm buying that fan a jersey and I'm shipping it to them. That's how confident I am.
But I'm predicting
if they score 3 goals in my stadium, that's insane.
I was about to ask you, Adams, what was your prediction?
Give it 2-0.
2-0?
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0 to Chelsea.
He's predicting us to not score.
Yes.
It's madness.
Except we give ourselves, so we accept like the Sanchez thing or
that light skinned brother that you're having in goal.
I don't think they can open us up.
That light skinned brother that you're having goal. I don't know.
You guys have analyzed the game. In fact, I wish the game was like in the next 1 hour. I can't wait. I can't wait to laugh at somebody tomorrow.
I'm actually very excited for the game because in this Ange run, people have been saying this is the game that will show us who he is, right? So from the Brentford away game, we said this is how we'll know what style we're going to be playing this season, how creative we're going to be. And I think we passed the Brentford test, considering it's our first professional game as a team under Ange, to go in there and get a 2-2 draw. He would know Brentford came to Stamford Bridge and slapped them 2-0. They're not an easy team to play.
They're not.
Yeah. Well, they didn't slap them, but they smashed and grabbed. This is what they do. They have a mid-block. It's aggressive. It's horrible. But we passed the Brentford test. We're able to break them down sufficiently enough to get a couple goals. Then came the United game, where I think United have a better transition team than Chelsea. Now, the United game was a little bit of a...
Not this season. They don't.
No, they have.
No,
they just don't convert chances. Same with you guys.
Exactly. So they're not bad.
And against us, they actually created a lot of clear-cut chances that they just didn't put away, right? And we ended up smashing them in the second half. And then came the Arsenal game. That was the biggest test of, can we go try to hold possession against a team that will dominate possession? We went in there and we won the possession 51-49. We were leading 60-40 at halftime at the Emirates. Then came the Liverpool game, which was mired by, refereeing. We couldn't take anything away from that game. I think this Chelsea game will finally tell me who we are as a team. Are we a team that is professional? Are we a team that does have a philosophy that we'll stick to no matter what? And can we go win the games that we should win? So I'm excited to see the game, and I'll be here eating humble pie if we lose, for sure. Yeah. Especially if they score 3 goals in my stadium, I'll be eating humble pie for sure.
I don't think we'll score 3. I'll give them that credit, but I think we might. I don't see them scoring against us, though. I don't see them scoring against us.
Remember how hostile an environment it's going to be as well, boy. I don't think Chelsea. I don't think these Chelsea players have been in as hostile an environment as they're going to be in against us. Because if you think about the current squad that's been assembled since January, first of all, they were playing for absolutely nothing towards the tail end of last season. They were completely out of everything. So every game was pretty much a stroll in the park. There was no hostility. Why are you mad at the people that are coming to give you free 3 points? You welcome them, you pat them on the back, you collect your 3 points, you go away. This season, they haven't had any meaningful away games where you can say, okay, there's going to be some hostility. This game, with the ex-manager, with the fact that we're flying right now, we're at the top of the table, we're unbeaten, our fans are going to be super up. We're going to create an environment that is absolutely awful for you guys to walk into. And I feel like you're discounting the fact that there's going to be a mental barrier that your players have to rise above, even within the game, besides the tactical aspect.
I'm backing my.
If they win, I'll be surprised.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Adam's going.
Yeah, I'm backing my boys regardless. I think this is going to be the most difficult test for us, but we have to win this game. That's something I don't think people don't understand, that we need this game for our season. And Pochettino understands that. Like, this game is, I feel like Spurs, they can afford to lose this game and still be all right. But this game will determine, in many ways, how Pochettino's career will be in Chelsea. Because once we don't win the game, if we lose this game, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. And if you see the run of games that we have, we play Man City next, we play Newcastle next. This game is going to set the tone.
Brighton after Newcastle as well.
And Manchester United.
Brutal.
So we might find ourselves in a relegation battle if we don't, win. I don't even win this game, because if we lose this game, then going into City, we're low on confidence. And once we lose against City, we've already dug ourselves into a hole that'll be very difficult to get out of. So I feel like there's more motivation on our part to win this game. The boys, I've seen Cole talking about a Spurs game. The boys know, they understand. I feel like you underestimate, because you feel a lot of these players are inexperienced. They haven't played for Chelsea for a long time. Cole has been in Chelsea since he was 8.
Well, Cole hasn't beat us in his young career. We slapped him at Brighton, so we're not scared of him.
In Chelsea youths, when he was a Chelsea youth player, he understands what it is to play Spurs. They know it's the 3 points lane back. When he was.
I feel like the element of why Adams is so confident is because of their record against us, and that's fair. It's the same way I feel about Crystal Palace. Like, Crystal Palace haven't beat us in like donkey years, and it doesn't matter if I'm going there with 2 midgets and one dog. I'm going to be confident about 3 points. So I respect that from that perspective. There is a heritage where Chelsea have dominated this rivalry over the last few years. I just think there's a lot of factors that we also have to consider Pochettino's away record against top 6 sides. It's absolutely awful. It's one of the worst of any top coaches ever.
Pochettino's record is out the door in this game, in this particular game.
Well, in the predictions for the Chelsea-Arsenal game, a lot of people pointed out to the fact that Pochettino has never lost at home against Arsenal
That's fair.
while he was at Spurs. And so that came into play. Like he's comfortable playing against them. Those are his boys. So I think sometimes heritage does play a part where this guy has shown that he's someone who struggles with game plan going away from home. I don't know why. We went an entire season not winning an away game. Can you believe that? An entire season. We didn't win a single away game at Spurs. So I think you guys are underestimating the mentality of the manager. This is a new squad that is going to be in the image of their manager. None of that Chelsea Harry. Your Champions League is not going to save you. Your 93-point season with Conte is not going to save you. The 3 goals, 3-goal conceded season with Peter. That's not going to save you here. These guys are built in the image of Poch, and he's a bottle job.
All right.
So now you can say.
Adams. All right.
I snuck that in.
That's fine. Let's. Okay. So,
I had to sneak that
in fact, this has set the tone for tomorrow. I just can't wait. I can't wait for the game.
That's
okay. Also, I think I've gotten your prediction for the game. I just want to ask you. You've said Liverpool is finishing third in your opinion this season. What position do you think Tottenham are going to end up this season?
Praying for top 5. Hopefully we can sneak into top. I think we can get top 4 based on the way United have started the season. Brighton have started really, really poorly as well. They win against the teams that they shouldn't win. They lose against the teams that they should win. De Zerbi seems like someone who is more about glitz and glam than actual consistency when it comes to league results. So I'm not worried about Brighton. I'm not worried about United. I think Chelsea is going to climb back up the table because if you look at their XG, if you look at their chances that are being created, their defense, they should be much higher in the table than they are currently. So I think they're going to climb back up there. That's why I was telling Adams this is an important win for us if we're going to be looking for top 4 because we need to be taking 3 points from the guys that I think are going to challenge us for top 4. Newcastle, I'm hoping that European places like the European games take something away from them and their consistency in the league. So at the moment, it's looking like we have a clear run at 4th. If that's the case, I'm backing us to get 4th because we've had such a great start. Usually with 4th place, like you're targeting 70 points, 75.
Yeah.
That usually gets you 4th place in the last 3 or 4 seasons. We're on pace to do like 80, 90, right? So I think we can comfortably get top 4 if the teams around us continue to falter. But I think top 5 minimum. Based on the start, we shouldn't be finishing any lower than 5th. 5th. If we finish 6th, I'd be disappointed. And I think 5th gets you Europe this year. So, hey, that's as long as we get back in the Champions League, I'm happy. I think it's a successful season. I was telling Adams, I don't think we're going to sustain this challenge into April, May. Like, we just don't have the squad for it. We still have a lot of mistakes in us. But that's why games like this, to me, are more important than games against Luton or games against Palace, because I think we need to be taking 3 points here because we have top 4 in mind. But my prediction is City wins the league, Arsenal takes 2nd, Liverpool 3rd. I think Spurs get 4th, and I think Chelsea get 5th.
Wow, that's interesting. We're going to come back to that prediction and see. All right, okay, all right. So thanks for that. So we're kind of almost out of time. But before we call it a show, I have a few questions. I would like to ask both of you, Chelsea fan and Tottenham fan. So basically, I just like to know how well you know your clubs. But I was thinking of twisting it this time. I was thinking of asking the Chelsea fan Tottenham questions and the Tottenham fan Chelsea. Let's see how well you know your position.
I know anything about Tottenham, bro. You know.
Okay. All right. Let's.
He's not a true student of the game. Student of the game.
Yeah, you can do it that way. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, okay. All right then. That's fine. Okay. So let me start with the Chelsea question. So with that, we'll go to Uzo. Right. Chelsea's last away win at Tottenham Stadium. Right. Can you give me the scoreline and the goal scorers? Chelsea's last win at your stadium.
So their last win was obviously under Tuchel. That was Conte's first season when he came in. I remember we lost to them twice within a week. Oh God!
Yes, that's correct.
We lost them in the Carabao Cup, and then we lost to them in the league.
The league, yes, that's correct.
The reason why I can't remember the scores is because I don't know who scored in the Carabao. They beat us so many times. I think it was a. That might have been the game where Harry Kane should have got a penalty because Thiago Silva pushed him in the back. But we didn't get that penalty, and I think it was 1-0. And I think the goal was scored by a defender. I just can't remember which defender it was.
Yeah.
Or it might have been either that might be the Carabao Cup. I don't know.
Yeah,
I may be
there's
wrong.
too many games against them that we beat them.
Yeah.
So
It was
see why we need to beat them?
it was
Yeah.
probably
It's ridiculous.
or Rudiger, one of them.
Yeah, it was the scoreline was actually 3-0 in favor of Chelsea. So the goal scorers were Kante, Thiago Silva, and Rudiger. Okay.
I remember that game.
Okay. So Adams, the Tottenham question to you. So last season Tottenham beat you guys in this same fixture, like in their stadium last season. Do you know the scoreline and the goal scorers? No idea.
I knew Skip scored against us. Oh my god, Skip
Scored a banger.
Yes, Oliver Skip scored. That's one of the goal scorers.
I think it was 2-0. I think it was 2-0.
Yeah.
That's
Can't
correct. It
remember
was
the
2-0.
last person. Was
Yeah,
it
so
Harry?
it was 2-0 and it was Oliver Skip and Harry Kane. I'll give you 1 point for that, Adam. So 1 point to you, none to Uzo. Okay, let's go to
I mean,
another
I got the
You didn't-
win right.
No, you didn't get the scoreline.
I said they won. I know they won.
No
Well, I mean,
points
that
for
was the
saying-
question. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so no points for that. Okay, let's come to another question for you. So Chelsea, this is quite hard for you, Uzo. Chelsea's record appearance maker in Chelsea's history.
There's no way I'm knowing the one for Spurs.
Wait, say Chelsea's record what?
Appearance.
Appearances?
Yeah, appearances, yes.
Bro,
And then what was the second part of the question?
No, that's just the only question.
Is it Aspilicueta?
No.
Can I get a second guess?
Yes, 3 guesses.
Bro, I don't think I even know that.
Okay, if it's 3 guesses, if it's not Aspi, it's not Czech because he left. Is it John Terry?
No. He's not even a player of any of the eras like we like.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's. Is it?
What is it, Zola?
Is it
No.
Tamlin or something?
It's not Zola.
No, it's Ron Harris.
Oh, bro, I
Oh
didn't
man,
No way
I
you'd
was
have
never
known.
gonna guess that one.
Bro,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
know.
know.
I was never
I'm
gonna
sorry,
guess
that was
that one.
tough. Oh, so for Adams, you know that for
Don't
Tottenham?
ask me the one for Spurs. I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, so
I
it's
don't know the one for Spurs.
Hugo Lloris.
Yeah, it is Loris.
Oh, okay.
It is Loris. Yeah.
Okay, this one is okay. The final one is around okay, Chelsea Stamford Bridge. The stadium capacity for Stamford Bridge. Just give me an estimate. You can't give me just give me like
I think 28,000. I know it's a really small stadium.
no higher. It's higher.
38.
Higher. One more guess.
It's more than 38.
38, more than 38.
Okay,
yes.
3 guesses. I'm gonna go with 47,000.
No,
No.
it's 40,341.
But 38,000 is close to 40,000.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll give you 1 point. I'll give you 1 point for that. Okay, Adams, you want to try Tottenham's
But
stadium?
what's the name of their stadium?
The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
The Tottenham Hotspur
I
Stadium.
know it's a new stadium, so it might be.
Yeah, it's a new
might
stadium.
be-
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll go 70.
lower.
It's even lower than that. Can you imagine? The new stadium is lower than 70. So and it's 50 then.
Higher.
Oh, okay. It's 65.
Oh, almost 62,000.
Bro, I need to get the point for that.
850. Yes, I'll give you a point for that as well. So, all right, that's it. So, Adam wins this at the end with 2 points.
that's
Adam,
how I'm
1
going to
point
beat
to
them
you.
too.
So,
But
so
he was 3,000 off though. I was closer than him. I should get the point.
yeah,
for that
I
round.
gave you a point
Yeah,
for
you
that.
got the point for that. So 2-1. That's
2-1. So that's how it's going to end
2-1.
tomorrow.
I'll go 2-1 anything.
This is the only thing Chelsea has won on the pitch this season. Congrats.
We'll see about that. Next
Maybe you should be striking for Chelsea.
next week we'll see.
You are more deadly than any of your forwards.
We'll see. When Amado Broja pops against you guys, we'll see if he will be able to.
Is he back? Is he back fit?
I think he might make the bench.
I actually rate Broya very highly. When he was at Southampton, I was hoping that you guys would do one of those things where you forget that you have a guy on loan
The lasting career here.
and we can nab him. Yeah, we talked about his injury crisis. It's just, poor guy.
All right, guys. So we've come to the end of the show. Thank you, Uzo, for coming. Thank you for coming. Adams,
Thanks
as
for
usual.
having me.
Thanks for setting it all up. All right, guys. So thanks for watching as well. Please don't forget, as the usual stuff, you can always like and subscribe our videos on YouTube. If you want to be on the show, you can send us a message. You can drop us a comment and tell us that you were interested in coming onto the show. And if you have something you'd like to tell us on how we can improve our like what we do, our content, you can please also let us know. Yeah, you can also follow us on Instagram as well. We'll also drop some of the snippets of the show on Instagram. Yeah, so please, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting us. And we'll see you guys next week. So take care. Bye.